quoted by Franklin D. Roosevelt. And on that note, the third speaker, the proposition rests.
Coffee. Come here. Coffee. Come here. Coffee. Come here. You must have like, no. You should have like two more cameramen, like one from this and one from the wrong, and then editing the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Now, it would be remiss of me if I didn't highlight to the judges and the audience something that I found very ironic. Now, the first speaker of the opposition for the entire debate has sounded antagonistic and aggressive and not cheerful at all. I don't know if I was the only one that felt this sentiment, but his tone alone made me fearful. Be it resolved that we have more to fear than to cheer. Now, maybe it is naivety, or maybe my opponents are just the perpetual optimist. Regardless, it is the responsibility of the proposition and I to firmly state our disagreement with the move. Be it resolved that we have more to fear than to cheer. Judges, audience, if any of us is to make such a statement, it would be unquestionable that we do not understand the gravity of the times that we are living. Now, using politics as an all-encompassing example of how much we have to fear as a society and a people, I proceed. Now, dictionary.com defines fear as a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, or pain. This definition of fear could almost be synonymously aligned with Jamaican politics as one of the most prominent and possibly the most unfortunate characteristics that can be found in our politics is political tribalism. Now, interestingly enough, when I was doing my research, something my opponents clearly didn't, when the phrase political tribalism was entered into the Google search engine, Jamaican articles appeared at the top of the page.
Point of information, man.
Not accepted. No, that reality alone makes me fearful. But judges, audience, the worst is yet to come.
Point of information.
Accepted.
No politician in the Jamaican
That has been adopted in our society is that whether or not it is practical or in the best interest of the country, the political party which is supported most should be elected. The fear in political tribalism comes from violence and crime which has been caused by political tribalism. Now when an article, simple facts that you wanted, in an article published by www.photius.org, a historical timeline marking the beginning of political tribalism was highlighted. And according to the article, the first use of guns in Jamaican politics was in West Kingston in 1976. So judges, what does this say to us? This says to us that this is not a problem which is new and surfacing. It is something that is deep-rooted in our culture. Now my opponents, if you're a thin, baseless wall of optimism has not yet crumbled with fear, I don't know what will move you. Now what is even more provoking of fear to me is the unfortunate reality that even though there is extreme support of political parties through political tribalism, the political system is still inefficient. Now in defending my stance of my teammates and I, my last desire would be to join this tribalism and sound biased in any way, shape or form. So I carefully picked an example which is mainstream and common ground in Jamaican politics. And that is the defamation. Not accepted. That is the defamation of character. No, the natural instinct of our politicians seems to be to attack and mar the character of their colleagues. No opponents. It is not to attack the issues concerning the country in a practical and consuming way, but to attack the people. That's what my first speaker seems to have a tendency to do. Let us tune into the radio one Tuesday afternoon and listen to the debates in Jamaica. The sense of order and respect between our politicians is just as low as the respect the tribal and gang members have for each other. So how will we progress as a country? What is there to be cheerful about? What fear clearly outweighs. Now this is grieving to me. Sadly. And I'm sure by now the audience will agree that it warrants fear. So yes, my friends, we have more fear than
Language.
Yes. So the opposition was first. Will I give it 5 minutes to? 3 minutes.
KC. 3 minutes for rebuttal.
Ready, sir? Ready? No. It's sad that the fourth speaker of the proposition had to refute his views and my emotions rather than the facts of me and my teammates. Unlike him, who did not have any facts apart from a mere quote from an article about hearsay in his speech. I continue. Now, how do we make a comparison without highlighting the good? How do we compare fear to cheer in tourism when nothing of good was even mentioned apart from the mere trivialities of swimming pools, which aren't economic growth by the first speaker? Now, the second speaker, after a global economic recession, isn't it easier to invest and more likely to gain boom? Yes, a recession lasts 2 to 3 years, but the repercussions of that recession is far greater to cheer about. The opportunity for investment and fiscal growth. The proposition has neglected the future in their defense of the mood. It is just as important as the present. The opportunity for comfort and support outweighs the fear of the future. The global warming, can be evaded through greenhouse technology, which the proposition seemed to forget. And the third speaker spoke about gay marriages and racial tolerance. Not something for us to cheer about here in our culture, Jamaica. But who are we to judge? Both these groups are gaining support, making it comfortable for life. What ethical or moral qualifications does Cornel Gray have to deem this not worthy of cheer or immoral? People are having better lives to cheer about. Isn't this worthy of cheer? I thank you.
That was the best speaker.
My first speaker mentioned that fear is a feeling that something unpleasant may happen. Isn't it because of fear why we as human beings continue to solve our ever-growing problems, which we ourselves cause? Isn't it because of fear that the negative effects of global warming? Isn't it because of the negative effects of global warming why we continue to develop new vehicles and petroleum to burn cleaner gases? This is because of fear. Humans always find a way to solve their problems. If this is so, mentioned by your third speaker, why is there a war in Iraq? The ever-present threat of terrorism, murder, unemployment, why do all these exist?